Hi everybody, this is Dr. Warren, and I want to try and clarify the difference between learning outcomes and learning objectives. And once you have your learning objectives well formed, how easy it is to create the assessments for those learning objectives. So let's take the example from our multimedia for the week. And the learning outcomes provided are declarative, identify computer hardware components; procedural, copy a file from one folder to another; and problem solving, troubleshoot an internet connection. I want to point out the difference between declarative, procedural, and problem solving, and compare those to Bloom's levels in the Bloom's taxonomy. So notice that knowledge and comprehension are declarative. I can describe knowledge and comprehension. I can speak about what I remember, what I know. That's declarative. That's how I demonstrate it. I can write it. I can take a test on it. But when we start getting a little higher at the application level, application is more procedural. You're in the world, you're showing how to do something, you're demonstrating. So that is more of a procedural level. At the highest level of Bloom's, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, now we're getting into problem solving competencies. And notice sometimes synthesis is confusing. Basically, synthesis means you're creating new knowledge. You're taking existing knowledge that you have, putting it together into something new that you are composing yourself as opposed to what was taught you. Synthesis, you're putting it together into new meaning for you. Evaluation, you have to really know that material in order to properly evaluate it. So that's why that's at the top. So again, declarative, just identify. I know the names of computer hardware components. Procedural, in the real world, I'm doing something. I'm demonstrating something, a process, how to copy a file from one folder to another. Problem solving is much harder. We're troubleshooting an internet connection. The target audience, learners or teachers taking a computer course. So we go to the first learning outcome, and notice we have identify computer hardware components. Now for the objective, I go very specific. Given an iMac laptop, teachers will be able to identify and point to key components, including keyboard, screen, etc. See how I've taken identify hardware components and given it something very specific and measurable that I can then test. I can assess whether the learner successfully identified the keyboard, screen, input jack, etc. You see? And so if they didn't do a couple of these right, then I know where I messed up in teaching and where I need to fix it, where I need to see I know where their learning gaps are. Taking it to the next one, the procedural, copy a file from one folder to another. Teachers will be able to demonstrate how to copy a file. This is the objective, I'm sorry. How to copy a file from one folder to another, including opening the original file folder, copying the file, creating a new folder, naming it, pasting the original file into the new folder. Procedural. And notice how specific, how much more specific that is than just copy a file from one folder to another. We're breaking out those steps, and that is my learning objective. And again, I can assess that. I can test that. So I hope that's helpful in seeing how we go from a broader learning outcome to a much more specific learning objective that is then the assessment then ties very closely to that learning objective. I can measure it, I can test it. Thank you.